Get your reactions ready. The live portion of the show will begin in just a moment.
Deep to right field, going back, Hernandez, turning, looking, see ya! Drill deep to right field, there it goes, see ya! Into the second deck. Driven out to left field, deep, going back, Kelnick, turning, looking, see ya!
Today is June 21st. It's the first day of summer, and the Yankees were trying to win their second straight game versus the Mariners behind Johnny Brito, who was making a return to the rotation. My recap and your reactions coming up next. This is NYY Recaps.
Welcome to Yankee Stadium.
Just when they thought I was out, they pull me back in.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Billy Judge strikes again. We will take it. And I got to say, I did not have Johnny Brito out-dueling Luis Castillo on my bingo card for tonight. What a performance by the kid. Best we've seen from him all season, in my opinion. Another Yankees win. That's 2 in a row. One more, and they'll officially have a win streak. And if they win tomorrow, they will have swept the Seattle Mariners. They've played pretty well against the Mariners this year, and the Mariners almost always give them trouble. But it's nice to beat Luis Castillo, their ace, just so that you know you can do it should you get to the postseason. No Stanton in the lineup tonight, and a lopsided pitching matchup on paper. And if you told me that the Yankees would only have 5 hits, I would have believed you. But fortunately, 3 of them were home runs, and the rest was history. Before we get to the game and the Belt Award, I've got to recap and react to another press conference / interview, another interview really. Hal Steinbrenner was on the Michael Kay show today. And look, the Yankees played pretty well tonight, so I don't want to sound like I'm down on them, but I think it's fair to comment that they've underperformed so far this year. And a lot of my comments in reaction to Hal is going to be based on the team at large this year. And I'm not trying to poop on them when they, just won 2 in a row against the Mariners. But, at large, they've been underwhelming, especially offensively. So with that in mind, these were my takeaways from the Steinbrenner interview. Number 1, Hal said that he doesn't understand why fans are upset 3 weeks into June. And all I have to say to that is look at the standings. Even after this win tonight, we are 9.5 games out. 8 games in the loss column to the Tampa Bay Rays. It doesn't take a genius to say that that's not good. And it means you got to play 8 games better than the best team in the American League in the second half to overcome that. Or 9 games better. And the Yankees have trained us to expect excellence. More specifically, Hal Steinbrenner's father, George, trained us and taught us to expect excellence from the Pinstripes and to settle for nothing less than excellence. You're not always going to get excellence. That's clear. That's athletics. But you expect them to perform better, especially offensively, than they've done this year. And you get tired of the injuries year in and year out. And look, the fans have done their part. We continue to show up at the ballpark. And, we're going to get on our guys when they're lackadaisical or they're really, really struggling, because that's just part of playing in New York. And we're passionate. But in my opinion, the fans have lived up to their part of the bargain, and now it's time for the organization to live up to their end. He said he doesn't disregard winning the division or making the playoffs, and that as long as the Yankees get to the playoffs, they have a chance. Of course they have a chance. But, that's like saying, look, they might have a chance to pull up that submarine that went down to the Titanic. There's a chance, but it's not promising. And time is not on our side, it's not on their side. The playoffs can be a crapshoot, but they are anything but random. The Astros have consistently performed excellent in the postseason. So, whatever the Yankee formula is, that's what we're upset about. We're upset that we keep doing the same thing over and over and over again and keep getting the same poor results. Getting to the playoffs is not good enough for this organization. If you had won 4 or 5 championships since 2000, I'd say, look, you get to the playoffs, yeah, you got a good chance to win it, 1 out of every 5 years or so. 1 out of every 6 years, maybe. But that hasn't been the case. The Yankees are 1 for their last 22. So, just wanted to put that out there. Takeaway number 2. He said that he doesn't listen to podcasts or radio shows or read the newspaper very much, but he somehow knew that we all talk about how much time he spends on his yacht, and he took time to make it a point that he doesn't have a yacht. Oh, boo-hoo.
Baba Booey.
I don't have a yacht either. I think he's got, he mentioned muscle cars. He's probably got, a few small private islands, maybe a spaceship. But look, going out of your way to say you don't have a yacht, what do you want, a cookie? I bet nobody in this chat has a yacht. Maybe 1 or 2 Wall Street folks. But most people don't have a yacht. Do you want us to feel bad for you? Look, we don't expect perfection, but we do expect excellence, especially with the gigantic payroll in and out, or year in and year out. He seems to think that just because he spends money, that fans should be happy and close their mouths about it. But I think that's a miscalculation. I, for one, could not care less how much money he spends, or his family spends, as he likes to say, as long as the product is fun and worth watching and worth our time investment. It's more than just money we're investing. It's more than just tickets and MLB TV and the Yes Network and 5 different apps. A lot of us spend 3 or 4 hours every night consumed with the Yankees. We give up our summers. We give up our summers to watch this team. And we see them getting 4 and 5 hits night after night. Even on a night tonight when they win, they got 5 hits. That's just not good enough. He tried to act like he has a temper and says that he throws stuff at the TV when the Yankees are playing. That's just nonsense. I think a lot of times members of the Yankees organization forget that they're talking to New Yorkers when they're giving interviews or whatever. And I've said this many times on this show. New Yorkers have a very finely calibrated bullshit detector. It's the best bullshit detector in the world. And when he says he's chucking shit at the TV, I just don't buy it. I just don't buy it.
The price is wrong, bitch.
And with that being said, Yankees had another good night tonight, so let's get to the game. Rainier Caldier says he has a couple of yachts. Oh, good for you. You guys know that there's a Christian Bale video came out when he was on The Dark Knight. He was working on the set. And for a long time, it was my voicemail where he's arguing with this, I guess it was like a camera guy or a key grip or something that kept walking in the background of his scenes while he was filming. And he lit into the guy. You can hear the audio somewhere on YouTube. And the guy says, I was just moving the lights. And he goes, oh, good for you. That's the exact quote that I said when Steinbrenner was like, well, I got some muscle cars. I was like, oh, great. Fantastic. So, yeah, Johnny Brito versus Luis Castillo tonight. On paper, not a very good pitching matchup, but both offenses were quiet early, and it was clear that Johnny Brito, who's been pitching terribly in the minor leagues, had fixed something. And that's something I wanted to bring up, that minor league numbers don't always equate to major league performance. Sometimes when a guy's struggling in the minor leagues, it's because they're working on something. Now, we saw a lot more sink, a lot more two-seamers tonight from Brito, a lot less changeups. They might have had him down there working on his other pitches other than the changeup, because the changeup's already good. And sometimes when you're working out on stuff, you get hit because you make mistakes with it as you're fine-tuning. And tonight, we saw the curveball, we saw the sinker, we saw a lot of good things from Brito. Billy McKinney, a.k.a. Billy Judge, picked up the Yankees' first hit in the bottom of the second. He had a couple of hits tonight. Honestly, I was just shocked at the way they hit Castillo at all. They usually do nothing against him, and usually because they're all right-handed. But tonight they had some lefties mixed in, and it worked out. Top of the third inning, Anthony Volpe made another nice play at shortstop. He had a good night. Bottom three, the Yankees struck first against Castillo. Volpe walked, and he was creating an obvious headache for Castillo at first base with Bowers at the plate. And while Castillo was looking for a Tylenol, Bowers got to him.
There it goes. That ball is high. It is far. It is gone.
Doug Rao quoting Jim Mora. Playoffs? You talking about playoffs? Trying to win a game. 2-run shot for Bowers, his 6th home run of the season. I knew it immediately because of his reaction. He knew it immediately, and most importantly, Castillo knew it immediately. Bottom 4, another no-doubter from Mr. Billy Judge McKinney.
There it goes. That ball is high. It is far. It is gone.
Lori C. says Hal eats pizza with a fork and a knife. Like a true New Yorker, right? McKinney is in fuego. Look, I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist, but it's almost like lefties inherently perform better in a ballpark designed for left-handed hitters.
What?
Really? Gleyber Torres had another bout with brain worms in the bottom of the 5th. He took off for second on a fly ball to right field with 1 out, trying to get a good jump on the ball, but it was up way too high for him to take off the way he did. Just a bad read, and he committed to it, and he paid the price. And once again, Mr. Bob Barker.
The price is wrong, bitch.
Baba Booey.
Brito was done after 5 2/3 innings. He allowed 2 hits, 1 walk, and no runs. He struck out 3, and he was excellent. Getting a lot of votes for him as the belt winner. We'll get to it in a second. Bottom 7, Mr. Anthony Volpe, have yourself a night.
There it goes. That ball is high. It is far. It is gone.
Anthony Volpe, a spectacular
Most impressive.
Solo shot, his 10th of the season. He has looked a lot better at the plate for about a week now. Not amazing, but improving, which is, what you have to see at this point. He's the first Yankee rookie to have 10 home runs and 15 stolen bases in an entire season since Alfonso Soriano. And Alfonso Soriano was not bad. So Volpe's got a real good chance to go 20-20 at least, because we're not even halfway through the season. And he's halfway there on home runs, and he's more than halfway there on steals. Maybe he goes 20-30. He's going to have to pick up the stolen base pace a little bit. He had a bunch of stolen bases in the first month of the season. Then he stopped getting on base for an entire month. I think we'll see it more now that he's closed off his stance. He's having better at bats. I think we're going to start seeing more power because the ball is carrying a little bit better. He almost hit 2 home runs tonight. He hit one down the right field line that just sliced foul by a couple of feet. So, there's no doubt in my mind that eventually he's going to be at least a 25 home run, 30 stolen base guy. It might take a couple of years, but the growing pains are going to be worth the payoff, in my opinion. Still not sure that he's a shortstop. They're sticking with him at shortstop. Wouldn't surprise me if ultimately he ended up at second base. Worth noting that Peraza was out of the lineup for a second straight day today. Wandy had a tough night. He served up a run. Josh Donaldson had a tough night. Again, he got booed off the field a couple of times. Mike King had a tough night. He struggled again. He's trying to work through some mechanical changes, and he just didn't have the rhythm tonight. Tommy Kahnle had to come in and save the day, but he slammed the door, and the Yankees take game 2, and they take the series.
Ball game over. Yankees win. Yankees win. You're a winner.
Frankie says that Volpe is going to be really great when he leaves the Yankees. Don't start with that, man. Don't start with that. So let's talk about the belt vote. So obviously McKinney had a good night, couple of hits and the home run. Bowers hit the big 2-run shot. We could give it to Steinbrenner for not having a yacht, and slumming it on the 15-foot speedboats like the rest of us. But I think we're going to go with the kid who pitched fantastic, or I should say fantastically to be grammatically correct, Mr. Johnny Brito. Chris Calith says, should the Yankees be buyers or sellers at the deadline? It's a tough decision, man. I mean, you really can't make that decision, and I don't think the Yankees will until you're right up against the deadline. If it's, 5 days out, I think the Yankees will know. They're going to keep negotiating right up until the very end. I think you might see a combination of things. I think you might see them at the deadline DFA some people to make, room on the roster. I think that might ultimately be the end of Donaldson if he doesn't get it together. And you might see them go out and get somebody to play third base, especially if DJ LeMahieu doesn't start hitting. They really like DJ's fielding ability, though. So, you probably don't need to go out and get a superstar. You just need to get somebody who can get some hits and kind of fill in for DJ. Donaldson, look, he's just not getting it done. I'll pull up the box score in just a moment, but he is hitting 133. Jesus, that is terrible. Let's go to the chat. Jeffrey says, Gleyber Torres has no baseball IQ. His baseball IQ is very low. Very low IQ. Very low IQ. Look, and it's not getting any better. I mean, he's been making these mistakes for years. Let's go ahead and watch through the highlights together real quick. We haven't done this in a while because the Yankees have not been winning very often. It's no fun to watch them when they're losing. Tabor Talk says Hicks is hitting 340 with Baltimore. What a weird universe we've landed in. So this was the home run from Bowers in the first. Short porch home run with Volpe on base. Nice piece of hitting. This was a strikeout on a curveball by Brito. And then Billy McKinney, Billy Judge going second tank over the Port Authority or Parts Authority sign. Nice swing. That's a good swing. Really engages the hips. Smooth, pretty level, slight uppercut. Nice exit velocity, 109 and 414 feet. That goes out everywhere. And then Volpe, that pitch was 96 miles an hour right down the middle of the plate. Maybe a little bit on the outside part of the plate, but because he's opening his hips a little bit, he's able to get to it and drive it out of the ballpark. Douglas Rouse says, Donaldson in his first at-bat was hacking at everything, and then in later at-bats, he was taking pitches he should have swung at. And if you recall, that's the exact same problem that he had in 2022. And I think that it's a problem with his reaction time. He has to guess because he can't react to the fastball anymore, right? He has to look for one or the other and start early. And if you're looking for a breaking ball, you just can't react in time to swing at a fastball, or you have an ugly swing. We did see him take some ugly swings tonight. Look, age catches up to everybody. Josh Donaldson is no exception. He is, 37 years old, and he's hitting 133. He's got 8 hits, and 6 of them are home runs. He's got 60 at-bats. And look, we heard everything in the spring training about, hey, I've retooled my swing. I'm going to be back to the old Josh Donaldson. No, you're back to being the old Josh Donaldson. All right, let's take a look at the box score from tonight's game. So we got 5 hits, 2 of them from McKinney, 1 from Volpe, 1 from Calhoun, and 1 from Bowers. Torres did nothing. Rizzo did nothing. Donaldson did nothing. Bader did nothing. And Higashioka did nothing. Cordero deserves a round of applause. He did a nice job out of the bullpen. Peralta and King had tough nights, and then Tommy Kahnle came in and shut the door.
Bing.
Nice job from Mr. Tommy Kahnle. Bomber says, Billy Judge! I think we've accidentally created a new nickname for him, Billy Judge. I think we need to stick with it. Now, I fixed the error last night. So when I create a new player reel, those little scoreboard looking things with the picture and the guy's name, and then it goes into their highlights, I basically have one of those for every player. But when the season begins, I don't have them for the guys who haven't joined the team yet. So I have a template, and my template is Aaron Judge. So when you get a new player, I take that Aaron Judge template and I just change the name. And last night, I realized when he hit a home run, I didn't have a Billy McKinney reel, and I wanted it as part of the post game. So I went ahead and created one, but I forgot to change the name, hence Billy Judge. And sometimes that's just how life works out because he's hitting like Aaron Judge. Frankie with the nice compliment says, age catches up to everybody. Derek proving that wrong. I'm 40. Got the best Yankees content. I don't know about the best, but one other thing. I'm feeling 40, man. The last several days, I have been struggling to get out of bed. My dog, Cece, is having a tough time, too. She chased a squirrel yesterday morning, and she's getting too old for it. So she's been limping the last day or two. We're taking her to the vet tomorrow, but she just must have strained something or stepped on something or just not feeling great. But she was fine and then chased after the morning squirrel and has been limping ever since. So we're taking her in tomorrow. She wouldn't sleep up in our room last night. She always comes upstairs. She couldn't come up the stairs. So everybody put your hands together for Cece tonight. Named after Cece Sabathia, but technically her legal name is Cat Chaser Sabathia. All right, guys. Let's go to the final screen. Get your final comments in.
Game over. I gotta get out of here.
You gotta go.
Tommy Higgs says, got to give the Yankees credit for finding Jake Bauers. Yeah, I mean, lefties in Yankee Stadium is a huge deal. And for years, the Yankees have ignored that. You know, those late 2010s teams that were stacked with right-handed hitters just drove me absolutely nuts. And somebody mentioned a good point the other day that they built their swings to compensate for the shift, but now that the shift is going away, you don't have to hit it over the shift anymore. You can just beat the shift. So what we're seeing is a lag in, you know, the old way that they were playing the game and the way the game has changed. You need more lefties. You need more contact guys. But, you know, Hal Steinbrenner, he understands the frustration, but then again, he doesn't understand why we're mad. So, look, if anybody is watching this from the Yankees organization, one of Hal's social media people, here's the simple thought that I want to express. We're upset because the team has, at large, been overly reliant on the home run and way too injury prone and not keeping up with the youth movement in Major League Baseball. And even when we do bring young guys up, like Anthony Volpe, they've been struggling and our coaches haven't been doing a great job at correcting issues. We expect excellence. We demand excellence. And we'll let you hear it if excellence is not forthcoming. So let's hope that the Yankees can continue this nice little run that they're on over the last couple of days. You really need an 8 or 9 game win streak at this point to even get back in the mix. I'd say if you go into the All-Star break and you're 5 or 6 back, you got a shot. But you can't be 10 games back at the All-Star break like the Yankees have been kind of hovering around for a month and expect to be in it. One last round of applause for Mr. Billy Judge. You'll love to see it. All right, guys. I will see you guys tomorrow. Yankees going to try and finish off the series. See you next time.
Ball game over.
Most impressive.